Alrighty, folks. So we are not in Las Vegas right now. We are actually in North Carolina. I got bounced to the other side of the country again, and I'm about to fly back to Vegas to drive to Tucson here tomorrow. But this is kind of our scenery. In front of me, I've got a 2020 Jeep Compass Limited trim. This is going to be our vehicle for a little while. Basically, a little bit of a backstory. The Subaru was involved in a collision last week. So basically, we're kind of just working stuff out and seeing what's going to happen next. New car possibly coming to the channel. We'll see, but this is what we got for now. So this 2020 Jeep Compass Limited is, improved from when the Jeep Compass first came out. It's definitely the little brother of the Cherokee. There's a lot of similar features you will notice with it, but one thing I will admit is it's actually kind of fun to drive, but it's not my favorite, and we'll talk about some reasons why. So as you can see here, this is the styling of it. It's actually pretty youthful in appearance. It appears to be popular with the younger crowd and small families. So let's go ahead and see why. So let's hop into the driver's seat over here. Again, this is the limited model, so stepping in, you are going to have a leather interior, a leather wrapped steering wheel, and leather door panels. And getting into the car here, it feels pretty comfortable. The seats aren't too bad. Steering wheel feels really nice in your hands. It's definitely a very smooth feeling, and I think it will wear great over time. I really don't like those grainy plastic steering wheels such as those that are on Hyundai lower trims, just because they peel so easily. So I definitely like the fact that we do have a leather wrapped steering wheel here. In the vehicle, it is actually pretty youthful and young. The center display, I do like the fact that it is in the dashboard rather than on top of it. That laptop just drives me nuts. But one thing you will notice is everything in the vehicle is very low, and it's one of those things where it's very common on Jeeps for some apparent reason to have the shifter be where it is, because it is very low to the ground. It almost feels like those old traditional floor shifters that used to be in pickup trucks. And I will admit, I just turned the engine on, it's really hot in here. But basically everything is just very low to the ground, including your climate controls. So it's one thing to think about, just because if you want to like not lean over when you have to, pull the shifter back or whichever, it's definitely something that you're going to have to do in this particular vehicle. So keep that in mind when you're doing your purchases. But otherwise, it does have that Uconnect that's very popular with Chrysler and Dodge. This one is working well, so no complaints there. It is dual zone climate control, and like I said, just everything is very low to the ground. You do also have auto AC and such, and defrost and all that stuff. You do have one USB port and an aux port here, and a 12 volt, whether we want to call it a cigarette lighter or a power outlet, you do have that available to you. And the steering wheel is very common with that of, Chrysler's. It's, you have your Bluetooth settings here. You can toggle through your menus on the dash display, and you do have your cruise control here. And behind the steering wheel is where your radio controls are. So all the controls are pretty much the same though as my parents' Chargers. They are definitely very similar in terms of design and feel. Same thing still applies to interior concerns, is that all your high traffic areas feel really nice in your hands, but there are some cheap plastics in here. But I will admit, this interior is really not bad, and to be honest with you, for something that's a little bit cheaper, kudos to Jeep for actually making something that's affordable. So this is the center display here. It's a little bit different than that of, let's say, the Renegade. The Renegade's a little bit more rugged in its appearance on the tachometer, for example. Usually the Renegade has that sort of like dirt patch where redline is, and I really like that, but unfortunately it is not in this model, which is fine. But yeah, these are the gauges. Pretty easy to read. The font's not too bad. It's a little large on the tachometer, but it's not bad whatsoever. It gives it, a unique Jeep design versus everything looking the same. If you guys notice, Chrysler products, they're very blue in appearance. Dodge, they're red, and Jeeps, they're kind of neutral, but they do have orange red lines. So I find that kind of interesting. So 11,988 miles. Overall, a good car. It definitely needs an alignment. This is actually where it's tracking straight. So I don't know who had this before us, but definitely took a curb or two. It is powered by a 2.4 liter inline 4-cylinder engine, makes 180 horsepower. Power is now transmitted through a 6-speed automatic or a 9-speed if you prefer that option. The CVT is no longer available, thank God, because the Jeep CVTs were not known to be very reliable, nor could they handle long trips. So Jeep did the right thing. They went back to traditional automatics. I just hope Nissan will do the same. But basically, this is where we're at. The shifter is pretty good. Again, you have to lean a little bit, but it's very smooth in your hands. It's very nice. Going into manual mode, I like that they did it the correct way, where down is actually pulling back is actually upshifting, and pushing forward is downshifting. That's actually the correct way. And you do have an electronic parking brake. This car is equipped with automatic start-stop, and you are able to turn that off accordingly, as well as turn off traction control. People, you know, would you rather prefer the 6-speed or the 9-speed? Well, both in Jeeps are not the greatest, and the reason why I say that is because the 6-speed is very slushy feeling. The 9-speed is too tall geared. Both of them are tall transmissions. They're definitely meant for fuel economy and fast travel, especially if you're going on the Autobahn. The ZF 9-speed, since it's developed in Germany, is very common to have taller gears, just so that way when you hit 120 miles an hour, you can be in ninth going 2,500 RPM. So basically, if you ask my preference, I would still prefer the 9-speed because I like the way it shifts a little bit more. But this one will do, and it's not a bad transmission. The reliability of them has gone up a little bit due to the fact that they are using step-geared transmissions now. So kudos to Jeep for doing the right thing, or Chrysler, and whomever. Let's get in the back seat. Again, look at our nice scenery. You know what's funny is this scenery is what caused us to be 5 days late in getting a rental car. I'm not even kidding. Back seat, here we go. Usually I start in the back seat, but I'm actually doing things opposite today. So getting into the back seat, it is actually pretty roomy in here. And one thing you will notice is everything feels like it's very pushed forward, but it is actually rather nice. I sit 5'10", and I sat in the front seat no problem. I still have a lot of room in here. I do have rear air vents, and there's a full-blown 115 volt or 150 watt plug here, as well as another USB port. They don't have USB-C yet. I think that's the small one, but it may become available in the following years. The headliner, very common of Chryslers, Jeeps, Dodges to have a short headliner in the back, so your taller passengers may have an issue if they like to lean back while getting out of the car, but otherwise it's not something that's overbearing whatsoever. So let's go ahead and see the trunk, and this is where I'm actually the most impressed with this vehicle. For some apparent reason, it's hot in North Carolina, and I live in the Smoky Mountains, so kind of weird that it's really warm right now, but you know, the sun does wonders, I guess. So this is actually kind of where the Jeep shines, I'm not gonna lie. Let's go ahead and open up the trunk here, and as you can see, pretty good trunk room for an SUV of this class. It actually is bigger than that of my Tucson, I think, and bigger than the Outback, but the Outback was a wagon, but still. Once you fold the seats down, that Outback had so much room it wasn't even funny. But looking in here, you can definitely tell it's been used. There are some interior scratches. We do have a 12-volt plug-in, again, as you can see here, another cigarette lighter, if you will. And when you fold the seats down, you definitely get a lot more room. So can't complain too much, to be honest with you. I think this is a good little car for people who want to have a small SUV on an affordable budget. You know, just a few things here and there. You will notice very tall gears in your transmission. You will notice a little bit of an underpowered feel just because it is very, the transmission is very tall geared as well. So, you know, just a few things here and there that I personally don't like about it, but it actually is not a bad vehicle whatsoever. So with that, folks, I'm gonna go ahead and end the video here, and hopefully you liked, subscribe. Hopefully we'll get a little bit more content on it. If we don't, new car hopefully to come, and hopefully we can get some stuff on the Tucson once she's out here. All right, folks, have a good one, and stay safe.